it's time.
It's time for our top 5.
For another classic JP and the Beans top 5. Introduce today's top 5, if you would, please, kind sir.
Yeah. In honor of Venom 3 being a total turd, we decided that the top 5 of today would be top 5 symbiotes.
Love it.
In comics and movies and whatever, but mainly comics because let's be honest. What
wasn't a lot to see in the movies.
Correct.
Wasn't a lot to see.
So, top 5 symbiotes overall in our eyes. Mm-hmm. Are you wanting to kick off, or would you like me to kick off?
I would love to go first.
It's all you.
All right. My number 5 is Rascal. First of all, the name. There's a symbiote named Rascal. That's a delight. What a great thing. This guy can't really be that tough, can he? No, actually, he's not, which is why he's number 5 on my list. So how this guy even survives, who's to say? He's an offshoot of another symbiote named Bedlam, which is one of Eddie Brock's temporarily displaced cells, which I don't fully understand, but we got some reading to do to find out more about that. Here's the deal. Rascal is a apparently young, emotional creature that Normie Osborn, okay?
Norman Osborn's grandson.
There you go.
Harry Osborn's kid.
Is bonded to. And Rascal is described as, quote-unquote, puppy-like. So there you go. There's my number 5. Oh, and he's like totally disconnected from the hive mind. So he's just like this rogue, just toddler symbiote.
And
that cracks me up.
And is like the Avengers Academy or something like that. So they're training him to be a good person, which is great.
So there you go. My number 5, Rascal.
My number 5, we're staying in the Osborn line.
Ooh, let's go.
I have the Red Goblin at number 5 because nothing is more terrifying than the Green Goblin and the Carnage symbiote teaming up.
Yep.
Okay? This thing was horrifying back in the day. And the end game of that is Norman Osborn thought he was Cletus Cassidy, which is also a terrifying thought process to have. So,
yikes.
Like, just take Green Goblin, turn it up to 11. Yep. I believe, from what I remember, it took Spider-Man rebonding with Venom again to be able to take out Red Goblin. And it took the two of them together to do so.
Yep.
He kills Flash Thompson.
Ouch.
I believe as well. This is where Flash takes the sacrifice fly and dies. So yeah, Red Goblin, number 5 for me.
Good number 5. Solid.
Number 4. I have not seen this outside of like images and stuff, but I have Sleeper at number 4 because he's a very unique look and take on a symbiote.
Yep.
He's got the 4 eyes, got the nice little touch of green, but he's mainly black, right? He's more of a guardian for Eddie's son, Dylan. But he looks dope. That's literally why he's number 4.
Hey.
Thinking about it.
Looks are great.
I probably should switch Red Goblin and Sleeper around, but it's fine.
Looks are great.
Yeah. So I got Sleeper at 4.
I love that. I love that a lot. Yeah, this is going to be such a fun list because our rationales are just going to be absolutely, absolutely wild. Case in point, my number 4 is Grendel. Why? It's a symbiote dragon.
There you go.
That's fantastic. A symbiote dragon? I don't need to say any more, except that that's awesome. That's freaking
what a
sweet.
Dragon-like name, too. Grendel.
Right? It's absolutely...
Sounds German.
Absolutely perfect. Yeah, very much so. So that's my number 4, Grendel, a freaking symbiote dragon. Okay, my number 3. I was trying to pick between 2 in particular in this spot. I'm going to go with Toxin. Okay, a couple reasons here. And this has to do with the power set. Toxin has poison fangs. That's the name. Okay, that makes sense. But it's really BA. If you got poison fangs, you just bite somebody. You don't even have to do, hey, I ripped their head off or any, tangible physical damage. You just inject a little venom. Done. Toxin, poison fangs. Also resistant to fire. That's helpful. And here's the really key one. Sonic waves, right? Sound is such a barrier for so many a symbiote, but Toxin is a little more resistant than your average symbiote. So, my number 3, Toxin.
Nice.
Thank you.
My number 3, we're going to the more classic route now. Mm-hmm. I have Carnage.
That's great.
Carnage is Marvel's Joker on steroids. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So, he's such a staple now in in comics, especially with Venom. And to take it from, back in the day when Venom was just a straight up villain to introducing Carnage to kind of make Venom this anti-hero.
Sure.
Because there's just this greater evil, turn him up to 11 because he's stronger than Venom for whatever reason.
Right.
And also, the bond is a lot stronger with Cletus to the point where they are connected by blood, which is odd, right? But yeah, just to see how far that symbiote just keeps getting corrupted and corrupted as time goes on to the point of it doesn't matter who it touches, it's going to drive him insane, aka Norman Osborn, right? So,
quite bad.
Like whenever you see him come out, you're like, oh, there's going to be a lot of people that are going to die for no reason at all. So I got Carnage number 3.
Great pick.
So, yes. My number 2 is the original himself. I have Venom at number 2. Look, Venom's all over the place in the lore, if you think about it. Like, again, you go from the villain when he's first introduced, terrifying, doesn't activate the spider sense for Peter. So Peter is for the first time on his toes, not only as Spider-Man, but also as Peter Parker, because Venom knows his secret identity. Right. So he's showing up in all aspects of Peter's life, both on and off the court. So to have that and watch him turn his life around into the Lethal Protector, and then even talk about the Agent Venom phase when he's with Flash Thompson, that's a lot of people's Venoms, weirdly enough.
Right.
And so now he's back with Eddie again, but just to see the progression of that character specifically, I mean, I prefer the anti-hero route for Venom.
Sure.
And I always will.
Sure.
But, so Venom's my number 2. We wouldn't have any of this without Venom, so.
It's great. Venom's also my number 2. As you just said, we wouldn't have any for the rest of these options, these characters, without the OG. And the look remains absolutely perfect. Like, you don't have to mess with it. Yeah. It's incredible. The skill set compared to other symbiotes may seem simple at this point, but it's no less potent for its simplicity. In fact, it's frankly, one of the draws of the character. Part, I think, what's so incredible about Venom is he has managed to be developed in a way where he doesn't need to have Spider-Man in his stratosphere to matter as a character. That's pretty impressive. The rest of these symbiotes are very, dependent on other characters, whereas Venom has blazed his own trail, so to speak. So that's Venom, number 2.
It's very rare when the villain anti-hero outgrows that role and can be on his own to that success level. Because, you know how much money Venom, the name, makes now for just, hey, let's see this character in a symbiote suit.
Yeah.
It's crazy, man, how much money they make off that.
Oh, yeah, it's absolutely wild. All right, my number 1 is all black, the Necro Sword, hence the recommendation of Thor, the God of Thunder, because all black, the Necro Sword is wielded by none other than Gore, the God Butcher, one of the original symbiotes crafted by Null, the great old god of symbiotes. This thing, unique in symbiote land in that it rarely is just a talking symbiote, right? It's not so much interacting with others as much as it is just a freaking weapon. And malleable, yes. Multifaceted, yes. But never is it wielded with greater effect and impact and just more freaking fun to watch in some weird ways than with Gore, the God Butcher. So that's my number 1, all black Necro Sword.
My number 1 is Anti-Venom, the original Eddie Brock. Mr. Negative gets involved with that, reactivates some things in old Eddie's cancer-ridden body at this point in time. The Anti-Venom symbiote comes up, boom, and then becomes a very integral piece in the Spider Island storyline where everybody gets Spider-Man powers, and it's only Anti-Venom who can take the Spider-Man powers away. I believe he can kill symbiotes too as well. So he has this really unique role in the symbiote ecosystem, because it's not really a symbiote, but it's like it's an anti-symbiote. So And now to see it come back, but with Flash Thompson, so we can have Agent Venom along with Venom, and they still exist. Right. They're just different functionally.
Right.
So you still get that character, just a different little flavor to it. It's great. I think it adds to all of that really well, and it kind of was that, again, it was a more redemptive path for Eddie at this point in time, I believe, in his Spider-Man villainary career. I think he was back on the bad guy track and in prison when this happened. So this, I believe, the track to get him back to anti-hero. So,
right.
But yeah, no, and actually, fun fact, Spider-Man PS5, Peter Parker becomes anti-Venom. So he gets a new symbiote mixed with Mr. Negative's powers.
Okay.
And he gets the anti-Venom symbiote.
Really?
And that's how the second one ends, is he is just the holder of that.
Got it.
So they find unique ways to bring it back. But I love the white and the black too.
It's really cool.
He's a badass. So anti-Venom is my number one.
That's really cool.